In the small town of Hollowbrook, nestled deep within the woods, there was a local legend that spoke of a malevolent entity haunting the forest. Many townspeople claimed to have encountered its sinister presence, but most dismissed it as mere folklore. However, I, as an avid explorer of the unknown, couldn't resist the temptation to uncover the truth. One foggy autumn evening, I gathered my friends, Sarah, Mark, and Lily, to venture into the heart of Hollowbrook Forest. The atmosphere was filled with excitement and trepidation as we followed a winding path into the dense woods. The leaves rustled under our feet, and the trees seemed to whisper secrets in the dimming light. As we delved deeper into the forest, we began to notice unsettling signs, an unusual silence that hung in the air, peculiar markings etched into the ancient trees. Each step felt heavier, as if an unseen force was urging us to turn back, but our curiosity drove us forward, oblivious to the horrors that awaited. The haunting began subtly, faint rustling in the underbrush, eerie shadows dancing on the periphery of our vision. We brushed it off as our minds playing tricks on us, but the unease persisted. As night descended, the forest seemed to come alive with malevolence. A chilling breeze swept through the trees, carrying an unnatural chill that cut through our clothes. Sarah's flashlight flickered, casting ominous shadows on the twisted branches. We quickened our pace, hoping to find an escape from the oppressive darkness. Suddenly, we stumbled upon a small clearing, and in its center stood an ancient altar adorned with long-forgotten symbols. Dread settled over us, and instinct told us that we had entered forbidden territory. The malevolent entity was watching, waiting for its moment to strike. In that moment, a blood-curdling scream pierced the night, and we turned to see Lily's terror-stricken face. The malevolent entity had revealed itself, a dark, ethereal figure with glowing eyes and a haunting presence. It was like a nightmare come to life, filling the forest with a suffocating aura of dread. Panic engulfed us, and we ran, desperately seeking a way out of the forest. The malevolent entity pursued relentlessly, its malevolence growing with every step. We could feel its malevolent energy enveloping us, feeding off our fear. The forest seemed to twist and warp around us, disorienting our senses. We stumbled, our breaths ragged, but we knew that giving up meant succumbing to the entity's grasp. In our desperation, we split up, hoping to confuse the entity and improve our chances of survival. I found myself alone in the dark, heart pounding in my chest. Fear clutched at my throat as I tried to gather my thoughts. The forest was an inky black void, and the malevolent presence seemed to be closing in on me. But as I stood there, ready to face whatever awaited, a faint glimmer of hope emerged. A soft light, like a distant beacon, caught my attention. Following it, I stumbled upon a hidden cave nestled within the forest's embrace. With the entity still in pursuit, I sought refuge inside the cave, hoping to buy some time. My breaths came in heavy gasps as I pressed myself against the cold stone, my heart pounding in my ears. Inside the cave, I could still sense the malevolent entity's presence, its power seeping through the cracks in the stone. It was relentless, searching for any weakness to exploit. Time seemed to stretch on, each second feeling like an eternity. The cave provided some respite, but I knew that the entity wouldn't give up so easily. It was only a matter of time before it found me. In that claustrophobic darkness, I knew I had to find a way to confront the malevolent entity head-on. It was not an opponent I could defeat with physical strength or mystical powers. Instead, I had to rely on my wits and my knowledge of the forest's history. Remembering the legends of Hollowbrook, I recalled stories of the entity's aversion to certain natural elements. Fire and salt were said to be its weaknesses, and in the dim light of the cave, I noticed a pile of dry branches and leaves that could serve as fuel. With trembling hands, I gathered the materials and used a lighter I had in my backpack to start a small fire. The cave flickered with light, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Then, I remembered the bag of salty chip we had packed as a snack for the trip. Without hesitation, I sprinkled the salt around the entrance of the cave, forming a protective barrier. The malevolent entity's presence seemed to waver, sensing our newfound strength. It let out a chilling wail, but it couldn't breach the protective circle of salt. As the night wore on, the entity's attempts grew weaker, unable to withstand the power of the fire and the purity of the salt. As the first rays of dawn painted the horizon, the malevolent entity let out one final scream before vanishing into the depths of the woods. The forest was once again calm, and I emerged from the cave to find my friends waiting anxiously. Sarah, Mark, and Lily had their own share of struggles and injuries from their encounters with the entity, but we had survived the night. Our escape had come with a cost, but we had emerged stronger, armed with the knowledge of the entity's weakness. Upon returning to town, we delved into books and researched on our computers, seeking to learn more about the malevolent entity that had haunted Hollowbrook for generations. We discovered old tomes and historical records that pointed to a tragic event in the past, a ritual gone wrong that had trapped a malevolent spirit in the forest. Armed with this knowledge, we returned to the forest, better prepared and determined to put an end to the entity's reign of terror. With salt and fire, we ventured into the heart of Hollowbrook Forest once more, ready to face the malevolent entity on our terms. Drawing upon our newfound strength and knowledge, we confronted the malevolent entity with resolve. We fought fiercely, using our makeshift weapons to push it back, and finally, with a combined effort, we banished the malevolent spirit back into the depths from whence it came. Our victory came with scars and losses, but we emerged from the haunting of Hollowbrook Forest with a deeper bond and a sense of triumph. We knew that we had faced true terror and come out on the other side, stronger and wiser. From that day on, we made it our mission to protect our town from any lurking darkness, drawing strength from the harrowing experience that had tested our courage and resilience. In a small, secluded village surrounded by a dense and eerie forest, a chilling legend cast a dark shadow over the townspeople. They whispered of the Jorogumo, a terrifying creature that could transform from a monstrous spider into a beautiful woman to ensnare its victims. Legends spoke of her vengeful nature, seeking retribution for past wrongs, and her lair was said to lie deep within the heart of the forbidding woods. Amidst the village lived a man named Nathan, a brooding and mysterious figure haunted by a tragic past. Rumors swirled around him, and some claimed he had an encounter with the Jorogumo years ago. Nathan had escaped her clutches that fateful night, but not without a heavy price. He had been marked, forever tethered to the haunting creature by an unbreakable bond. Determined to unravel the truth behind the chilling legend and to finally sever the ties that bound him, Nathan set out on a perilous journey into the dreaded forest. He couldn't bear to let the Jorogumo's curse endanger anyone else, and he was determined to confront his past. The moon shone brightly overhead as Nathan ventured deeper into the heart of darkness. He could feel her presence growing stronger with every step, a malevolent force that seemed to lurk behind every shadow. He knew the danger that lay ahead, but he steeled himself, driven by a mix of fear and resolve. As he approached the Jorogumo's lair, a sense of impending doom washed over him. He could hear her eerie whispers carried by the chilling wind, a haunting lullaby that beckoned him closer. But Nathan remained steadfast, fueled by the need to protect others and break free from the curse that had tormented him for so long. Inside the lair, he encountered the Jorogumo, both beautiful and terrifying, an embodiment of darkness and desire. Her crimson eyes bore into his soul, and he felt the weight of their shared history pressing down on him. Their encounter was fraught with tension and raw emotion. Nathan pleaded with the Jorogumo to release him from the curse, to spare the innocent villagers from her vengeful wrath. But the creature's heart seemed hardened by centuries of pain and betrayal. As their confrontation escalated, Jorogumo unleashed her fury upon Nathan, attempting to ensnare him in her web of deceit. He fought back with all his strength, evading her attacks and desperately searching for a way to end the curse. In a climactic struggle, Nathan managed to break free from the Jorogumo's grasp, but not without sacrifice. His friends who had accompanied him on his journey had fallen to the creature's wrath, leaving only him and the child as survivors. As I prepared to face the Jorogumo, a little girl suddenly appeared before us. She had the same crimson eyes as the creature, but there was innocence in her gaze, a flicker of humanity that pulled at my heartstrings. "Daddy?" she said softly, and I felt my heart ache with a mixture of love and fear. The Jorogumo smiled, confirming what my heart already knew. The little girl was my daughter, a living testament to the dark union we had shared. In that moment of revelation, I hesitated. The thought of killing the Jorogumo in front of my own daughter was too unbearable to bear. I couldn't expose her to more pain and loss. With a rush of emotions, I made a choice. Gripping my daughters in my arms, I turned and ran. I fled the cursed forest, leaving the haunting memories of my past behind. As we vanished into the safety of the night, I knew that our journey was far from over. The Jorogumo's curse still lingered, and the darkness within my daughter would continue to call to me. But I was determined to protect her from the malevolence that haunted our lives. Together, we would face the challenges that lay ahead, finding solace in each other's love and the hope for a brighter future. And so, hand in hand, we ran into the unknown, embracing the uncertain destiny that fate had woven for us. 2 years had passed since our escape from the cursed forest, and life had taken a turn for the better. The village had become our home, a place where we found acceptance and a sense of belonging. My daughter, Emily, and I lived a peaceful life together, far away from the horrors of our past. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Emily grew into a bright and cheerful little girl. Her laughter filled our home, bringing joy to my heart and banishing the lingering shadows that once haunted my soul. She still called me Daddy, and I cherished every moment we spent together. One fateful night, as the moon cast an ethereal glow over our village, Emily looked up at me with her innocent eyes and said, "Daddy, Mommy is coming." My heart skipped a beat at her words, and for a moment, the memories of the vengeful Jorogumo flooded my mind. Before I could respond, a knock echoed through the house. My heart pounded in my chest as I cautiously approached the door, fearing the worst. As I opened it, my legs suddenly felt weak, and I fell to the ground, my vision blurred with terror. There she stood, a sinister smile on her lips, her haunting presence sending shivers down my spine.
Did you really think you could escape me? You thought you could take her away from me, but you can never escape the web I've woven around her. You belong to me too, dear father.
The vengeful Jorogumo hissed, her eyes locking onto mine with a chilling intensity. Her sinister smile sent shivers down my spine, realizing that I was now entangled in her dark grasp, just as much as my daughter. In a village nestled at the edge of a haunted forest, a chilling legend lurked in the shadows. The tale spoke of a malevolent creature known as the Nightshade, a monster that thrived on darkness and fed on the innocence of children. For generations, parents warned their little ones never to venture into the woods after dusk, for the Nightshade roamed free under the cloak of night, searching for its next victim. Despite the warnings, whispers of missing children began to spread like wildfire through the village. Fear and grief swept through the community as parents clung to their young ones, praying that they would remain safe from the clutches of the dreaded creature. Among the concerned parents was Sarah, a loving mother whose heart was filled with unconditional love for her only son. Her little boy, Timmy, was a bundle of joy and laughter, his eyes shining with wonder at the world around him. Sarah cherished every moment with him, treasuring each memory they created together. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Sarah noticed a chilling presence that sent shivers down her spine. The air grew colder, and a haunting silence settled over the village. The Nightshade had returned, hungry for the innocence that lay within the hearts of children. In the depths of the night, a heart-wrenching cry pierced the darkness. It was the sound of a mother's worst nightmare coming true. The Nightshade had kidnapped a child, and that child was Sarah's precious Timmy. Panic and sorrow gripped the village as they searched frantically for the missing little one. As Sarah clutched her pendant, a symbol of her love and strength, she knew she couldn't stand idly by, waiting for the creature to strike again. With a heavy heart and tearful eyes, she made a daring decision. She would face the Nightshade herself and rescue her son. Guided by the fierce love for Timmy, Sarah embarked on a treacherous journey into the heart of the haunted woods. The moon cast an eerie glow on the gnarled trees, and the forest seemed to whisper warnings of the perils that lay ahead. But Sarah's determination burned brighter than any fear, for she would stop at nothing to save her son. Finally, at the heart of the haunted woods, she stood before the Nightshade's lair. The cave yawned before her like a gaping maw, and a shiver ran down her spine. The darkness seemed to seep from its depths, surrounding her with an overwhelming aura of dread. With trembling hands and tears in her eyes, Sarah stepped into the lair, determined to face the malevolent creature that had taken her son. As she ventured deeper into the heart of the Nightshade's lair, she couldn't help but notice the eerie presence of a little skeleton lying in a dark corner. Her heart sank as she realized the tragic fate of another child who had fallen victim to the malevolent creature. The skeletal remains were a haunting reminder of the many innocent lives that had been claimed by the Nightshade's insatiable hunger. Gathering her courage, Sarah approached the little skeleton with a mix of sorrow and determination. She couldn't let her own son suffer the same fate. As she ventured deeper, the encounter with the Nightshade awaited her. The creature's glowing eyes bore into her soul, and a shiver of terror ran down her spine. Her heart pounded in her chest, but she couldn't back down. Her son's life depended on her courage. With every ounce of bravery, Sarah confronted the Nightshade, demanding the return of her beloved child. The creature sneered, reveling in the despair it had caused, but Sarah's love burned like a fierce flame, refusing to be extinguished. In a battle of wills and emotions, Sarah unleashed her maternal instinct and love for Timmy, overwhelming the Nightshade with the strength of her heart. The monster, unable to withstand the power of a mother's love, relented, releasing Timmy from its grasp. As Sarah embraced her son, tears of relief streamed down her face. Timmy was safe, and the Nightshade had been defeated. In that moment, the village echoed with a collective sigh of joy and gratitude. From that day forth, the legend of Sarah's courage and the power of a mother's love spread through the village. The Nightshade's reign of terror had been broken, and the bond between Sarah and Timmy grew even stronger. In the end, the Nightshade's malevolence had unwittingly taught the village a profound lesson, that the love of a parent for their child was an unyielding force, capable of conquering even the darkest of creatures. And so, in a world once gripped by fear, the light of a mother's love prevailed, illuminating the path to a future filled with hope and protection for all the children of the village.